wanna get personal. We just building. It's my season, lay foundation. Make a name for generations, please, and make a. Then take a break or a little vacation and chasing blues away. Hey, hey. You always posting up pictures, trying to look like you winning, or look like you always be working. Soaking the moments you live in, yeah. You got the nerve to be on me, faking your life for the IG. If you got my number, don't add me, cause baby,
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to Grown Dating Talk tonight. I'm your host, Alona V. And today for our New Year's special, I have a treat for everyone. We have two guests on panel, Marnie Ponce and Quite Decent. And our topic tonight is worst first dates ever, okay? We're talking about the most memorable and last dates. Now, I want to introduce our guest panel speakers to you guys, so this way you learn a little bit more about who's going to be speaking and sharing tonight. And I want you guys to stay plugged into this screen and tuned in, because you're going to be hearing great things, funny, hilarious, and some of them are probably going to be some alarming, what the hell moments that we all can relate to. Now, our first guest, Empowering Flower, Marnie Ponce. She goes by Empowering Flower on Instagram, and you guys should check her out because she's famous for baking these vegan, tasty, decadent, oh my God, mouth-watering pastries and baked goods, okay? And they're vegan. So if you're vegan, you definitely want to hit up Empowering Flower on Instagram and get some of these yummy muffins, cookies, brownies, because oh my God. And even her protein bars, they are so, so great. So, so great. Now, I'm not vegan, but I'm that kind of girl. I eat everything. So I'll eat vegan, you know, I stay away from pork, but I love to sample different things. And I'm telling you, Marnie's pastries are great. And also she is an awesome playwright, okay? An awesome educator, and she's an awesome mom of two beautiful, beautiful young women, okay? And our second speaker on panel today is Quite Decent, and he is well known for his YouTube channel and also for his adorable, oh my God, his adorable chinchillas, which I hope and pray he'll pull them out to this evening and share some of them, share a view of them with us so that our viewers can see these beautiful chinchillas. So
Yeah,
Jonathan,
I'll bring them out a little later. Yeah.
So Quite
Thank
Decent,
you.
tell us more about your YouTube channel and what's going on
Sure.
with you.
Yeah, my YouTube channel, I basically try to, I guess, shine the light on topics that, aren't as, I guess, popular, just because, the things that are popular these days are things that are making YouTube and just content in general not so great for the world, I guess. So I try to just, play devil's advocate and look on the other side of things. But in general, I do the YouTube thing. I'm an IT professional here in New York City, just a general jack of all trades. So whether it be rock climbing, acro yoga, playing with my pets or whatever the city has to offer, whatever the mood inspires, that's what I'm down for.
And he's super knowledgeable in the stock market and investment tips, because he's definitely helped me hone in on some really great, stock and stuff, and make some really great investments and stuff. So I definitely want to thank you for that, Quite Decent. And Marnie, tell us some about your playwriting and stuff. You're on your fourth play now?
I just started today my fourth play. Yes.
Ooh.
I love to write, and I love to write autobiographically. Some of it, not all of it. And I just think that there's a lot of experiences that either I have had or I have been privy to through friendships that are worth mentioning in my stories. So they're pretty interesting and they're pretty juicy and they're really definitely thought-provoking. I'll say that.
So you guys definitely have to be on the lookout for Marnie's playwriting scripts when they come out. Yes, she definitely will mention them on her Instagram when they hit the stage, because I know I'll be there and I'll be mentioning it on my Instagram. So
I was just recently on Missing Them, which was with a theater company called What Would the Neighbors Say?
Yes.
So it was beautiful. It was a tribute to lives that were lost during COVID. And so they had writing workshops where people shared their loss and their grief. And after the workshop, the material that was produced by the participants was then turned into a play and performed the next day. And I was one of the actors. There was like 13 of us. It was amazing. So I'll let you know when when we get the link so you can see it. But it was a
Definitely,
beautiful
definitely.
experience. Yeah.
Might be able to air some of that footage on our YouTube channel as well too. I
Yeah.
definitely will support. Like, shoot. So one of the things that we're going to be jumping into today, guys, is we're going to be talking about famous worst dates ever. We're going to talk about humorous, alarming moments, those what the hell, never go through this again, And so I'm gonna open up and share an experience that I had over the COVID period in dating, right? There was this guy that I met him online dating and stuff. And it was a famous first and last date. The date actually ended. It was only a few minutes long and I left because yes. So
what happened?
We met online and we were talking and he suggested that we meet up in a park for lunch. So I was like, okay, cool. No problem. It was a weekend day. Figure I show up with my mask. You show up with your mask. He said he was bringing the food. All right, cool. I get to the place. This man has no mask. I mean, yeah, no mask whatsoever. And the first thing he wanted to do is try to lean in for a hug and a kiss. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. Because number one, I don't know what's going on with you. You don't know what's going on with me. And COVID tests weren't even available at that point. You know what I mean? So that was pretty, I was expecting social distancing and stuff, And then he started coughing like, so I have this thing with my youngest where if I text him 646, then he knows to call my phone and say, hey, mom, I need you to come on home. So,
wow.
So I have my teens. We have this code, if mom texts you 646, you call my phone and say you need mom to come on home. So I had to exit this gracefully, and this guy was like, well, where are you going? It's okay. I'm sure I can find something in my car. And he was like, but wait, if we're eating, we're not gonna have the mask on while we're eating. And I said to him, yeah, you can pull that sucker out, take a bite, cover it back up, pull it out, take a bite, cover it back up. Like, whoa. So that date didn't even pass 15 minutes. Okay. I want to say I probably left at the 13th minute, blocked his number and didn't even give him a second chance. He synonymously called me from a Google Voice number. And I was like, wait, hold on. You see these numbers coming through. And I answered the number as it wasn't a number I was familiar with, And he's like, well, I just want to know, like, why did you not take any of my calls after that? And why do I have to get this fictitious number just to reach you? And I was blown away because I was like, wait, first off, damn it, I don't owe you an explanation for anything, But I said to him, I said, you know what, since you went through this hassle of finding another means to reach me, I'm going to make you aware. My health is important, as is the health of my children. So when you showed up without a mask and you were insistent upon the fact you didn't even have a mask on you, it just showed me that you didn't care enough about my health. So if somebody doesn't care enough about my health and safety, then that's one of those 7 signs for me, because I look for 7 signs in a man to see if he can be a good prospective partner. I was like, and you X'd yourself out within the first 3 minutes when you popped out with no mask, because it was evident that you were willing to put my health at risk and my kids' health at risk too. So I had to respectfully, get up off that phone and decline that call. But that was, I don't know if I would categorize that as funny or alarming, but that was definitely an intense experience,
Not that it matters, but how deep into the quarantine or into the lockdown was this? Was it like end of March, or was it like, July or something like that?
No, it was in March. It actually was in March, quite frankly.
Okay.
And the truth of the matter was I had been sick in December and I had to be hospitalized. And they didn't know what was wrong with me at the time. And I'm going to tell you, I felt like I was having difficulty breathing, and even when, and COVID wasn't known about at that time to the general public, let's say. And I was back at work because they're saying, oh, you're able to go back to work. Meanwhile, I was under the care of a pulmonologist and he's like, blow on this breathing tube. And he's like, you look like you're struggling to breathe there. And I was like, you're telling me, like, this is what's going on, sir. I am struggling to breathe. I'd be walking and I had to stop and like, really take a bunch of breaths. I felt like I had given birth to a kid. Well, Quite Decent doesn't know about this, but Marty, when you give birth to a child and you no longer breathing for two, I was struggling though. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So after having that experience and then getting better and not feeling that way anymore, when March came and there was this scare about COVID, I was really scared because I remember what I had went through in December and I didn't want any parts of that. So when this guy came along with this with no mask, all I thought back to was, oh my God, I'm not trying to end my behind back up in a hospital or have my kids experiencing what I experienced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
So what kind of experiences have you guys had? I know you got some, Marty.
I'm gonna let
She's like, I'm gonna let Quite Decent share
gentlemen
first.
first this time.
I usually do all right. I don't have like the crazy. Well, I don't have the craziest first date stories. But let's just start with the first date. I think
You have dreads Quite Decent. I'm sure women are knocking down your door like, oh my God, because women love men with dreads and long dreads at that too. So
I went on a date with a woman, and I guess the big thing about her was that she was a feminist, which I mean I believe all women are, and even most men, but to some degree.
To some degree,
Right?
yeah, because men can be feminists to some degree too.
Right. Um, so she got into it, and then she had asked me if I myself was feminist, and I said, well, yeah, I kind of see it the same as, and this was before like the whole Black Lives Matter thing.
Movement.
So
Okay.
I was just like, it's kind of the same as discrimination against Black people. If you dislike someone or you have a perception of someone just because of something like this, even though it has proven itself not to be the case and proven itself that it doesn't have to be the case. If this is how you are, then it's kind of, it's not the same, of course, but I can definitely respect the effort, and I can definitely, to a degree, understand the struggle, and so on and so forth. Which I figure was a comprehensive enough answer that would, but then she started to say, well, what do you do that makes you feminist? And I said, well, I'm not a woman, and similar to Mahatma Gandhi, with his situation, he says these are Indian problems that have to be solved by Indian people. So if I'm to interject myself as a man and try to be the white knight or whatever, that's not really feminism. It's more so the status quo kind of white knight kind of thing. So I said one thing, something that I do though is if I see any kind of bigotry or any sort of um, misguided people in social media or something like that, I might jump in and say, hey, listen, that's not the case. What if someone told you, oh, because you're Black, so and so and so on and so forth. But because I didn't have a laundry list of, yeah, I go to marches and I started a Facebook group and and so on and so forth, and because I couldn't recite Susan B. Anthony's cat's middle name or something like that,
Okay.
she basically accused me of only putting that or only agreeing that I'm feminist just because I'm trying to get girls or something like that. I'm just like, well, this is not I didn't realize I was walking into a contest for how feminist I can be as a cis het, male or whatever it is. So it's just like,
Wow.
and the thing about online dating is you can speak to people before you actually meet them in person. So it's just like when we have all of this opportunity to vet which way we want to take things. I guess, this was in, I think like the Lower East Side I went. You go out, you travel, and I have this whole like date ready to go. And then, 5 minutes in, it's just like something to kill the date. And then I'm just like, what was the point of that? What did you gain? What did I gain? Like,
Yeah, we could have stayed home for this,
we could have stayed home. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting. I've seen instances like I've been out, not on that person's date, but I've seen instances where women will kill their own date Like I've been at restaurants with men. I can be like on a date and I'll hear a woman say, well, I want this. And she's talking about the most expensive thing on the menu. And it's funny because the look that the guy's giving her, and viewers, you know, I know you're about to jump into my butt when I say this, you know, but in the words of D.L. Hughley, that man gave her the look like you on the fucking side of the menu. Like you do realize that, right? Like you ordering that stuff, you're gonna be sleeping with me. You're gonna be sleeping with somebody in your household tonight when you get that, you know? And the crazy thing is, I've heard a woman once ask a man, well, what? You can't afford what I'm about to order? And I thought to myself, like, oh, sweetheart, you just messed up that date. Like you really just messed up that date. You can go on the date, you can have fun and stuff, but you don't have to necessarily order the most expensive thing on the menu to test this man's pockets to gauge if this is the kind of man that you want. Because sometimes doing the most will kill the date. Shoot, I wish I had that guy to get on panel to talk about what was going on in his head that night, because his facial expression said it all. Yeah.
I once heard a story. It's not my story, but I heard a story of a man who had been communicating with this woman, you know, via FaceTime, and he met her on the site. He flew all the way to Maryland to meet her because they got along and they were always talking, and she was in a wheelchair.
Oh.
She failed to tell him that she was, you know, I guess quadriplegic or paraplegic.
I think she succeeded in not telling him, because how do you
How do you forget that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're sitting talking to somebody, you're sitting talking. We're sitting here all talking.
Yeah.
I thought that
you don't notice.
That's crazy. I don't know what I would have done. And he flew all the way out there and he really liked her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess maybe not enough.
So now, you know, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because see, Quite Decent always advises me when I started my online dating journey. Quite Decent told me, make them hold up a piece of paper with something written on it, so you know that this is the actual person. Have them write the date, their name, or something. Yeah, he gave me some really great tips. Right, he was like, you definitely want to get on the phone, like a virtual call, and speak to them and know who they are. So I'm gonna say, you know, because Marty said this before, make them stand up. Yeah, I want to. Could you stand up real quick? Walk around. You know what I mean? I want to make sure your legs work. I need to know what's going on. Why are you limping over there? Like you're not walking. I see you rolling. Are you on a treadmill? Like I would want to know. And I'm not picking fun at people who are handicapped. I am not.
Not at all.
Those ones that are out there catfishing, that needs to stop. That needs to stop for calling you out. Because that's like a catfish in essence. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah, it basically is. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That's like the dude that I dated one time, and we went out on a date, and on his online dating profile, he said he was 6'2". Brother man showed up on the date like 4'8". So no, wait, I'm tall, okay? I am tall. When my date shows up and my date is here, I can't do that. I cannot do that, because I'm not the type of woman that wants to put a man where I need him to be. That doesn't work for me. That just can't do that, you know?
Well,
yeah.
I have a story, my own personal story. This is a while back.
Okay.
And I always tell this story to everyone because it was incredible. So I went, I was on Match, and I met this guy, and we used to talk on the phone.
Match is famous for a whole lot of this stuff, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe for about 2 weeks we communicated and via phone, but we could never like sort of meet. There was always like my job and his job, and what he did I found fascinating. So he would go into failing businesses and he would like help them to recover, you know. So he would, I guess, clean house, so to speak, look at, and most of it was like restaurants and things like that. And I thought it was fascinating, and he would talk about it, and you know, I was interested in him. I thought he was really intelligent and he was handsome. I had never met him, but his pictures, you know. So I was like, okay. So finally I said, I had started dating somebody that I knew I probably wanted to pursue, but I said, you know what, I promised him we would meet. And I said, you know what, what's it gonna hurt? You know, I said, let me just meet him. So I knew that he rides, you know, he cycles. And that's like really important to him. And, he was very active, and I'm physical, I'm a very active person as well. So I was like, oh, great. So we decided to meet and I said, we'll meet for tea by Bank Street where I used to work. And I remember it was like 4 o'clock. So I met him. I'm walking towards the place, the little cafe we're going to meet. And I see this man walking towards me, and it looks like the guy in the picture. Now this was like summertime. So it
Okay.
might have been August. And I'm looking, and he's walking towards me, and he's got like a jacket on, and I see his pant leg, and it's rolled all the way up, one of them all the way up to his knee.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking and I'm thinking, did this guy ride his bike to meet me on a date? I was like, there's no way he did this. And so as he's walking close, I notice he's like sweaty, a little bit sweaty. So I said to him, I said, your pant leg's rolled up. And he says to me, he's like, oh, I rode my bike here. I go, from Lower Manhattan? Because he was working by, I guess, by Park Avenue, Park Place, down there. And so he rode his bike. He said, yeah, he goes, I figured I can get my ride in for the day as well. So he was killing two birds with one stone. He's meeting me, but he's doing his long ride back and forth, whatever, how many miles that is. Showing up to me all sweaty with his bike, his pant leg rolled up. So I'm like, what is going on? So I knew right then and there, like something was like not right. I was like, there's something really wrong here. So we went into the cafe, and we went upstairs. It was a 2-floor, whatever. And so we sat down, and I got tea, and he had tea, and we started talking. Let me just say, he started talking. So, and I was like, I was try to take advice. Okay, let the man speak. And, because women always love to interject and like cut him off. And so I said, I'm going to let him have his say. And so, but I knew right then and there was just something, it wasn't going to happen. So he starts talking about his family, and, how, his brother was hit by a car, and he's quadriplegic, and, and he's bitter. And then the sister is like, she has a lot of anger towards the mother because the mother stayed with the father. I mean, he just went into this whole litany of things that he had gone through. And he starts talking about his mother and how horrible his siblings treat her. And he starts to cry, like literally crying.
Whoa.
And I look and I go, what the is going on?
He didn't need a date. He needed a damn therapist.
It was crazy. So I just I'm looking at him, and I'm like, this is like somebody's trying to prank me right now.
Looking around for Ashton Kutcher to pop out. Like, where are you?
I was like, this is crazy. And I was like, and he doesn't stop. And they treat her horrible, and he's crying. And I start giving him like the napkins from the teacup, like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, it's just, I get very emotional about my mother because she's been through so much. And I'm just looking at him. And then he says, I feel rude. He goes, tell me about you. You have 2 daughters. Tell me about them. I said, I really don't know you like that to talk about my family like that. He said, 2 daughters. Like, I'm not going to get into this whole thing and start crying too. So I said, oh. So I said to him, listen, I got to go. I have a class. So he said to me, he goes, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, yes, sure. I said, well, listen, why don't you collect yourself? This is exactly how I said it. Collect yourself. And I'll meet you downstairs. I just need to use the restroom. So he goes downstairs. I go into the bathroom. I call my friend, and I'm like, you're not going to believe this, to Sylvia. And I was like, you're not going to believe this. This guy is crying. I said, I knew I shouldn't have gone. I don't know why I was trying to be the nice guy. I was like, nice guys finish last. So I leave the bathroom. I go downstairs. Now I'm in there talking maybe like 2 minutes, right? 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to believe, as I'm walking downstairs, the guy is still crying. He's still crying.
Oh my God.
I go up to him and I just look at him. He's like, you're wonderful. He goes, it's so, it's so great to meet you. And I look at him and I said, you know what? Good luck with your life. Bye. That was one of my worst dates. But it was crazy. I've never had a man cry like that. I mean, I've made men cry, but not on the first date.
Oh my God. Quite decent. What went on there? We need you to speak for the men here. What went on there? What was the disconnect? I know that's not you. Quaidice is not going to be crying on any dates. He ain't going to be crying at all. But I need you to explain to me what the hell was going on with that brother. Like,
I don't know. Maybe he read somewhere that women like a guy who can be vulnerable, so he was just, trying to overcompensate for, his deficiency in that area. But I mean, yeah, I don't know what playbook he's reading from, but that wouldn't be my approach, to start with all of the muckraking and the drama and the, and all of the tea per se.
wait, I have an experience about muckraking and drama, kind of, right? Have you ever had someone like go on a date with you and they sit there and they're talking about a relationship that they're not over? Like, I've been on a date and this guy sat there and the whole entire date, like, I should have got my butt up and left, but I was really trying to be nice and I was a little too shy to be most abrupt at that time. But the thing is, it gets worse. It gets worse. Okay. Not only did he sit there for the entirety of the date and talk about this woman that broke his heart and everything, but guess what happened before the date ended?
She called?
She didn't even call. She showed up. She showed up.
Okay, how did she know? How did she know?
She located his iPhone and she found out where he was and she showed up. And this is the crazy thing. It gets worse. It gets worse. In the words of Marnie, it gets worse. Okay. This man, you're sitting here having this discussion with me. You never told me you were married. Okay. Why are you on a damn dating site and you're married still? He lives at home with her. So she broke your heart, but you share the same bed, brother. Like, you're going home to her tonight, And on top of that, all their joint accounts were together. So you're here paying for a meal on both of you guys' money. So I'm not even going to lie. At that point, when she was there roasting him, she didn't mean me no harm. I know I probably should have got up from the table, but I kind of like pushed my chair back because I wanted to hear this crap.
Get the popcorn out.
You know what I mean? Yes. I had
Michael
to get
Jackson
the
with the popcorn
out. I had my glass of wine. I was like, this is me. I was like, how long were you guys together? And she's like, what website did you meet him on? I was like, Match. She was like, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, did he mention he was married? I was like, sure didn't. And the funny thing was, okay, he was Egyptian and she was Black. So I definitely wanted to see this dynamic because she was eye rolling, head snapping, and he was just sitting there like a deer in headlights. And he looks at me and he's like, I was like, no, you need to answer her. And I'm sipping my wine and stuff.
And then everybody in the back was like, Jerry.
That's
crazy.
You know
what yeah, that really was some Jerry Springer-ish right there. That really was some Jerry Springer-ish. I think that's the most memorable worst date in my life. Because I was just waiting, like, is she going to throw the drink at him? Is she going to reach out and touch him? What's going to happen here? And it was just crazy. I got myself up and excused it after I had seen enough of this comedy show, I got myself up and excused myself and left out. I will never forget. I called my girlfriend at the time and I was like, you will never, ever, ever believe what just happened. And I told her and she was like, wait, I don't believe that you sat there. I was like, let me tell you something. Don't focus on me sitting there. You need to focus on the fact that his whole wife showed up in that profile and he was a single man. He had pictures of himself up boating, fishing, out the country on vacation. Brother, at no point in time did you say you had a wife. Mind you, he was video chatting with me too. Chat with me at 11 and 12 o'clock at night. And guess what? He could do that because she was a nurse and she was at work. And I was like, wow.
That's crazy.
No.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I was like, wait, what the hell?
I had somebody once talk about, I think I said this in the other show. He spent actually 2 dates I went on with him. And then I had to like cut him.
Cut the cord.
Yeah. So he spent talking about his narcissistic ex to the point, like, it wasn't just like he would say, oh, my ex was a narcissist, and he would just go on and on. But he sent me like a link to look up what narcissism is, like as if I didn't know. I was like, no, I think you learned that new word. I
Like
knew
he
that.
was a narcissist.
Right.
Sorry about that. But then, yeah, and it was weird. And he said to me, and there were a bunch of other things that he also, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my personality. I attract like these guys that are like, I don't know, they just need therapy.
In need
And
of
they
some
think I'm like
love.
gonna
They need of a
sit there and
hug.
listen to them.
I
So
mean,
then after that, the second date, that was like the first date and part of the second date. And then he started talking about his mother too. Like, I don't know what it is, but his mom lived in,
God.
they owned a house and the mom lived on the top
The
floor.
top floor.
And he was like, yeah, my mom, and he goes, but she drives me nuts. And so he started going into this whole like his mommy situation, and
The
that
Oedipus
one of his
complex.
ex-girlfriends parked in the driveway, and the mother just randomly would come into the house and like tell her to move the car and like be belligerent and like nasty. And I'm thinking, you really shouldn't be dating
Thank you.
at all. Like, kick mom out or get mom another place and like start over.
That sounds like an episode of Ayanla Fix My Life. That's what he needed.
But I was nice though. I sent him a text and I told him, thanks, but no thanks. My daughter was like, just tell him the truth. And then
Oh my God.
he sent me a text back saying, it's easy for you and blah, blah, blah. He's like, but thanks for letting me know now. I mean, we went on 2 dates. Now that's now. It's not like we were
The
dating
perfect
for
time to let you know.
2 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pour me breakfast. Come on.
That's one of the things that I find when you have these like worst date experiences and stuff. What do you guys suggest for cool ways and logical ways for people to exit this? Because let's think about this. Even though we're sharing this, there are people that really go through this. And like myself, I was frozen on some of these occasions, not sure of how to exit out of this situation. I mean, look at the dude with the Google Voice number who decided to follow up when he was blocked. What kind of suggestions would you guys give for like how to deal with those uncomfortable what the hell moments?
I guess.
Go ahead, quite decent.
Yeah, I guess. I guess maybe per the preliminary conversation, just be upfront about one thing that I do is I'm upfront about honesty. So if it's the wheelchair scenario or something like that, since I already laid the groundwork for I don't tolerate any sort of dishonesty. Yeah, I don't need a nice way or a logical way of cutting ties. I kind of just lay everything out up front so that if I see any sort of variance from that, it's just just done, and that's it. Complete block. And you had mentioned that he used a Google Voice number to call you.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is making your own Google Voice number and then giving that to people first, so that
I like that.
So that if they're weird or whatever, you can just delete the number, and then they would have no way of even if they use a different phone to call the same number, it doesn't exist anymore. So holding on to your social media, holding on to all of your things, and just let them out slowly. Not on the first dates. You
I agree.
connect your Facebook with them, and even if your Facebook is locked down, and this is just information for people in the comments.
Yeah.
If your Facebook is locked down and they can't see like any of your information, most of the times, I think maybe all of the times, if they can see one of your pictures, they can see who liked that picture, and then they can use that to corroborate and further expand their way into your network.
Investigate you. So, yeah.
Right, because you might have friends who. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you might have friends who, if they send them a friend request, might just accept them just because they received a friend request, and then per the friends of friends relationship, now they can see more of your stuff and then more of your stuff, and then they can see what your birthday is and so on and so forth. So
and they violate your privacy. Yeah.
Right. So I would say just hold on to your information and then just be upfront about what you don't tolerate, and maybe use the Google Voice or just a lot of these apps. You can do calls like through the apps, right? So just say, hey, listen, we're just going to text through the app, or we're just going to call or video call through the app. And that's what it's going to be for now until we go on a date or two. And then, I'll give you my number and my Instagram and whatever it is.
Yeah, until I can measure your emotional and mental stability and stuff at that point, because you need to be emotionally and mentally mature you know, to get the number. I like that. Go ahead, Marnie.
Mhm.
I also think like FaceTiming is really good. Like I think you should definitely FaceTime anybody that you have
Yes.
are willing just to like just to get a glimpse. I think pictures. I mean,
Stand up, walk. Yes, that's important.
Mhm.
I think see the person and I don't know. I think it's a good idea, especially since we have technology available to us in that way. I can't see why somebody would go on a date without at least FaceTiming once just to see if that's the person.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's definitely a good strategy to use. And I agree with you. I think that if you ask for somebody to be candid and honest, and they lie, I would just leave.
Just yeah,
I'd be
just
like, you
run.
know what? I gotta go.
Right.
There goes my beeper. Gotta go.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I think that that is really important. I don't like being stuck in a situation. And one thing I don't like is being uncomfortable because I'm a very upfront person. Like that first date, I'm very forward. I'm a very forward person. So that first date, I'm putting everything on the table. I'm telling that person, like, I'm a single mom, I'm a solo parent. This is what I do. This is what I'm about. I'm not looking to deal with this type of nonsense. And I let people know because, see, for me personally, I'm dating for marriage. And because I'm dating for marriage, I don't expect to marry every guy I meet. You know, I'm not saying that. But my end goal is I want to build a lasting and fulfilling relationship with a man. And so I want to know what his end goal is because if he's just dating casually, then we're not going to be a good fit because my end goal is permanency. And if you're just dating casually and I'm dating you, then I'm dating for failure in that because your end goal is not what my end goal is, you know? And so I put things on the line and talk about that on the first date. And I also will give that information via the conversations online when we're doing the chat thing. Cause a lot of times they're like, oh, what's your favorite color? Fuck that. Excuse my friend. Skip past that shit. Skip my favorite color. Do you have kids? You know, are you on good co-parenting terms with their mom? What is your relationship like with your mom? What is your relationship like with your dad? How tall are you? Have you measured yourself lately to make sure that you are as tall as you say you are? You know, are you married? No. Are you in a relationship? Is there anybody who thinks that they're in a relationship with you currently?
Yeah, that's
Like,
mm.
I've learned different ways, clever ways to ask these questions to try to get these answers. Go ahead, Marnie.
I just also think like I never thought I would have to mention this, but I also want to always ask the question, even though it's super inappropriate. But like, is there anybody like is? I mean, I think it's important to find out if they have mental illness in their family.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I hate to say it because there's some crazy people. They're
And they're
really
walking around with undiagnosed illnesses, like they've just been functioning like that, and they think that's just the way it is. And it's like, no, it's not. You're
So
carrying around your unhealed childhood trauma baggage, like Erica Badu said, you're a bag lady and a bag fella, and you don't even realize all this luggage that you're carting with you toward this date with me. And I'm not seeing you, I'm seeing all your baggage, but you see me and you don't see any of your baggage, but I see your baggage. That's a red flag for me, you know?
I mean, realistically, everybody has their own trauma and baggage, you know, especially
Mhm.
the older you get, you know, you've been in marriages, failed relationships, successful relationships.
Yes.
And I just think that like you need to be, I don't think you have to reveal everything, but you do have to like sort of be like upfront with your intentions and with, you know, limitations.
Yeah, if you can't walk, tell me that. If you're in a wheelchair, I need to know if you're
Never
rolling.
said that.
Okay. You know,
Yeah.
are we high rolling, low rolling? What are we doing? You know, if you're
I don't
not tall, don't put tall on your profile. You know, like
yeah, I
yeah,
had a
if
guy
you
who
have a
said,
stutter, I need to know that because I'm not trying to sit the whole date with the da 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 da. I need to help you with your sentence. I need to bring some dry erase markers so you can write down what you need to say. If
no.
you speak sign language, I would like to know that too because I don't speak sign language. So if we're texting, you finger banging your phone with perfection. Now we show up to the date and you're doing this and I can't communicate. And you're like, well, I can read your lips, but I can't read yours, my friend. I cannot read yours, you know? If you're deaf, I need to know that because I'm not trying to sit at the restaurant and yell clean across and you're right there next to me.
Oh,
No
well.
offense to the handicapped people. Let me say that ahead of time before you guys jump in the comments like, go to hell, Alana. Okay, like I bought stock in dry ice. I'm prepared, but I'm not heading there. So but it's true, you think you're getting yourself into something great. You get yourself so hyped up for this date. A girl says she agrees to go out. Think of it as a guy. You put on your best clothes, some really great cologne. As women, we spend money. We spend money on our hair, on eyelashes, on makeup, on a babysitter at times if your kids are younger, just to get prepared for this date. And then you get over here and now it's a damn flop. Now I'm mad because wasted my time. I'm gonna laugh about this shit, but I may not laugh about this shit till months later. I really might be traumatized because you told me you were 6'2" and you came rolling out limping with one leg. This is not the I'm gonna get you sucker. When she start pulling off legs and arms, like, let me show you what's really mine. I don't want to know what's really yours in that moment. I need to know it ahead of time,
Yeah, or like just guys, like you meet them the first time, and this is a pandemic, and these are like unprecedented times for sure, and
Yes.
it makes it very hell awkward to like go on a date. And then to top it off, like I had twice this happen to me already. Once the guy was like, "Oh, you have beautiful lips." He didn't have any lips. He had like, I don't know. So he's like, "Oh, your lips." He goes, "Your beautiful lips." He goes, "I'd love to kiss them." Dude, I just met you.
Exactly. Slow down,
Yeah.
pervert.
Like, that's what you got? 50 plus years, and that's what you're bringing? That's the kind of game you got or don't have?
Now I see why your ass is still on this dating site.
Yeah, but that happened to me a couple of times already.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that. Like mad thirsty. I don't like it.
And quite decent. I mean, you've been on dating sites. Have you experienced women who are really thirsty like that?
Yeah,
Those
my
$40, can you send me $40, $30 type of females, and you haven't even gone on a date yet? Oh, I hear about this. Men tell me about this crap. Like, she
no,
asked for
well,
money and she didn't even meet you. What the hell?
yeah, I try to steer clear of any professionals, as I call them, who sorry, don't spill your drink there.
To hold that one in.
Yeah, and I mean it's pretty easy to spot them. I mean, I don't want to give all the details because I don't want them to get like smarter or whatever. But anybody who they have like really seductive pictures, and the only word in their description is their Snapchat handle or something like that, or their what do you call OnlyFans handle or something like that. That's the only description, or the Cash App or whatever. I just stay away from that.
Wait, you've seen women that put their Cash App in their dating profile?
Yeah, or the
Oh my
Venmo or
God.
whatever it is. Like the profile literally is.
Now they're gonna start putting their Venmo. Go ahead.
It's SC colon, hot girl 123, and then Cash App, and then I think it's like a $ with whatever.
Yeah.
So I just like that's an automatic like left swipe or whatever it is. But then if it's if it's someone and it's just like the balance, I guess, for guys, and it's kind of unfortunate, but it's just like if you see like a supermodel and she looks to have been enhanced in some sort of way, and there's like no description at all, that's like an automatic left swipe. You kind of want to like find what seems like quote unquote normal, even though it's New York City, right? It's like 8 million people, and I used to model, right? So there are some hot girls out there. I mean, I'm pretty sure they understand that they don't need to like show everything, and I'm pretty sure they also, despite all the stereotypes, have more of a personality than IG colon, whatever the handle is.
Yeah.
So I just try to find the most normal people in general, but I have come across people who say, I'm living with my daughter, this and that, blah, blah, blah. My phone's going to get cut off. Can you help me out?
Wow.
Whatever. And then, I would just say, well, it depends. A lot of the times I just like unmatch them right away. But I would sometimes like ask details like, what's your living situation? Are you, with roommates? Are you with this? Are you with that? Blah, 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 yada, yada. Just to swerve on it for a quick second. to see if that's literally the objective, or if they actually want to, meet me and, and date, and this is also here at the same time. But
Mhm.
if I can't get like a minute or 2 minutes out of you, outside of you asking for money, then yeah, I just literally just swerve, and that's that. Um, and that's just one brand of it. You do have other people who, I guess, they feel if they waste enough of your time, you
They can wear you
somehow
down.
would be vested to some degree,
Mhm.
and then more susceptible to helping them with something.
Those are the
Um,
professionals.
the professionals.
Yeah.
So they may talk and talk and talk, and the way that that, and this is not to give too much details, but the way that that someone might be, either they be a professional or just in general not worth your time, is if they initiate a conversation, and it's a cell phone, right? So the way these things work is if someone messages you, you see it right away.
Mhm.
If I'm watching my tiny house videos or whatever I'm watching, and it says, oh, so and so just sent you a message, and then right within 3 seconds I answer them back, and then I put another question underneath that for them to answer back, and I don't hear from them for like 2-3 hours, and then they do the same thing and I do the same thing again, and they're gone again for a couple hours. I
Mhm.
usually just let them, like, you can message me all you want, but after my show is done, I'm just gonna swipe left or unmatch you or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think those are some really good tips for people to pay attention to. I've been accused of catfishing. Like I remember reaching out to this one guy on, I think it was CMB, Coffee Meets Bagel at the time, right?
Oh, that used to be a good app, by the way. Yeah,
Yeah.
before they turned into Tinder again. But that used to be a good app when it was one bagel per day.
Yes, exactly. But now all of a sudden, everybody on there is an entrepreneur and they're self-employed. Like, stop it. You're broke. You're on unemployment. You're not an entrepreneur. Okay, stop it.
Mm,
And no offense to the entrepreneurs out there who are unemployed because COVID affected your business. I am in no way disrespecting you because I'm a small business owner myself and an entrepreneur as well. I'm a momtrepreneur. So big ups to you guys. But I'm talking
mhm,
about you bum ass ladies and gentlemen that's trying to sit over there and catfish people, and you don't have anything going on in your life, and you're trying to sell yourself as like the sole proprietorship entrepreneur. Stop it. Stop it.
mm,
So they're on there, right? And this guy's like, so on my profile, I write, I'm descriptive to the T. So I'll put down my entrepreneurial journeys, the things that I'm looking for in a partner, and the type of experiences I'm looking to share with a partner. This guy says to me, no way, you're catfishing. I said, excuse me? He was like, there's no way that you're that beautiful. Thank you, brother. I don't look that way at every single second of the day. Okay, I have kids, so I teach too. So at some points I look really tired and stuff, and it'll take a face wash for me to look young again. Okay, but judging by my photos, he expected like, okay, you have this profile outline, but his idea was like, you're catfishing. You're gonna be using me for money or something else. And I was like, what in the world? So I
Then
said to
why
him, I was
even
like,
match?
whatever.
Why even match?
Say that again. Go ahead.
I said, then why did he even match if this is the energy he's going to bring to the table? Like,
Yeah.
if you think it's fake, then just swipe left.
Swipe left and keep it going. Yeah. But he wasted all that time to argue with me. And I thought to myself, I was like, let me just block this fool because I'm not on a dating site to argue with you. Like, I'm divorced. I
Mhm.
argued enough in those marriages. That's why I got divorced. Like, I'm not on a dating site to relive this PTSD with you, fool. Like, I don't have time for that. I just don't have time for that. I even met one guy who he actually was in the Yoruba religion and was from Africa. And he just brushed me off before even knowing me. I had a bathing suit picture up, and he assumed that I was just easy and looking for a good time. So I said to him, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, you're what we call those play doll women. I said, play doll woman? How do you figure that? And he's like, well, you have a bathing suit picture on, so you're half naked. I said, first off, I'm not half naked. A bathing suit is what a woman wears to the beach. So
Mhm.
I like to be in shape and I like to take care of my body. So for a man who wants a woman who's athletic, who has an athletic build, that's put out there. I was like, I don't have
Mhm.
lingerie. I'm not in my underwear. I'm not half naked. I was like, but thank you for letting me know more about who you are. And then I blocked his behind. But I
Mhm.
remember that I hit him with this saying. I had looked it up, as to how to say within the Yoruba religion, to go with love. And I forget what the saying was, but I copied and pasted off the internet and put it in there to like wish him nothing but love on the way out the door before I blocked him. Cause it's like, just don't assume because these pictures are up that you know who I am or categorize and label me as something I'm not, because then in that instance, you're missing out on a really dope woman who's intelligent and ambitious and all these great things, But I thought to myself, like, I'm happy that didn't even make it to a first date because I can only imagine what that date would have been like,
Yeah, I think it's common sense to not bring any sort of negative energy to if you're gonna commit to or if you're gonna take the next steps to match and to converse with someone or whatever. Obviously, don't bring any sort of negative energy. I think a lot of people get on these apps, and it's just a toy for them, right? So they're just bored. They'll swipe. They'll match with somebody. I had a girl. I took a screenshot and I sent it to one of my friends. But basically, we matched, and I said, pleased to be matched, this and that, so on and so forth. I really resonated with this and that and this. And then her response was, I asked her a question. I forgot what I asked her. And then her response was killing myself. And then I was just like, I don't know if this is just some funny sense of humor or whatever. So then I was just like, oh, I see. I noticed that, your distance is all of a sudden really far away. Are you visiting people for family for Christmas, or did you visit and did you go back home, or what part of town are you typically in? And then her next response was killing myself. So I said, well, thank you for matching with me to let me know that. I hope you have fun. Take care. And then
I would have hit her with the 1-800 suicide number and then unblocked her. Like, what the hell is up with that?
But I think people are just bored, right? So they get on here and they just try to find some way to get some sort of entertainment for themselves.
I agree. I agree. I think so. I think I might have done that myself.
That's one thing I dislike about dates. I've gone on dates before where like these men were boring. And you're trying to I'm trying to spice the conversation up, but for some reason they were just boring. And one thing I dislike, I've had like famous worst dates where a guy doesn't say anything. He doesn't have anything to add to the conversation, but he's just awestruck that he's sitting across from a beautiful and attractive woman. I've had a man sit there and tell me, you look even better in person than you do in your pictures. And it's like, well, damn, thank you for the compliment, but do you have anything to add to this conversation? Because I've been talking to you for 15 minutes already, and all you have for me is just...
I had a funny story too. There was a guy that I met on Match, and we FaceTime and we talked on the phone, and he was hilarious. I mean, he had me laughing that my neighbor rang my bell and said, I'm keeping him up, because I was just I was cackling like a crazy person.
He wanted to see if everything was okay.
I meet him. I was not because I found him super attractive either, but he was attractive. But I just thought he was so funny. I was like, oh my God, it'd be great to just hang out with him and just like bug out. So I went out with him. He was like a whole different person. And at one point I said to him, hey, I just have to say this. What happened to the guy I was on the phone with? Can you bring him? Can you like switch places?
Yeah, do you have date anxiety?
Put the mask back on.
And it was crazy. It was crazy. And that's one of the guys that said, and then towards the end of the date, that was the one and only date. Towards the end of the date, he started getting like a little funnier. Like he goes, well, I was trying to be serious because it's the first time we're meeting. And I'm like, dude, we've been talking on the phone, like joking. Like, why would you want to be serious now? Like it's, you know what I mean? I mean, it was very awkward. And then, he said some weird, like I went to the bathroom. He's like, oh, I'm going to see you walk, weird stuff like that. Then I
hate when they get perverted.
One of the guys that said the same thing, like, so I said, I'll drop you off at your car. Cause I felt bad. It was, far, he parked far. It was my neighborhood. So I said, I'll drop you. So I passed the car and he's like, oh, why don't you back up and park and we can make out for 30 minutes.
What the hell?
I was like, why do I meet those weirdos? That's so weird. Like, who would even say that? Like, if the chemistry is there, I mean, but even still, it's just weird. It's just like, why? I'm asking you now, why would a guy say something crazy like that?
That is crazy.
I think it's because the pepper spray doesn't just come out and blast them every time. There's no
You know?
consequence.
Wait, I've had guys bring bottle of liquor to the date. Like, oh, wait. Oh, I have to share this one. Oh my God. And you know what?
I got one more after you.
Yeah, if this guy sees this episode, he's gonna know I'm talking about him. And the thing is, he actually has my Instagram. So I know I'm gonna get a DM once this episode ends and he sees it. He's gonna be like, really? You outed me like that? And be like, bro, I didn't say your name. I didn't say your name. So I was talking to this guy, right? We met on dang, what app was it? We met on OkCupid. Okay, we met on OkCupid. He was a fine looking brother. African American, looked good in his photos. He was running in marathons and stuff. So I was like, oh shit, okay, he's athletic, look good. You know, he's a father. So I was like, okay, he has kids. He's been married in the long term. So I was like, all right, he knows how to entertain a relationship. He was a Sagittarius. So to me, I'm like, you know, me and my Sagittarius son, we're like thick as thieves. We get along great. So I was thinking, oh, Sagittarius guy, wow, this could be great because I'm an Aquarian woman and, you know, we're really quirky and stuff. So we agree that we're going to go out on this date to this restaurant and stuff. So I get out of my car and he gets out of his car and I called him on the phone. I'm like, hey, I'm here. Where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm over here in this truck. You know, I parked in the parking lot. I was like, hey, I parked in the same parking lot. So I was like, come on over. Let's go on into the restaurant. And he was like, well, wait, before we go in the restaurant, I got something for you. I was like, what you mean you got something for me? And he's like, yeah, I got something for you. So he goes back to his truck because he walked back because he had forgot it. He came out because we were talking on the phone. He asked me like what type of alcohol I like. And I said to him, like, I'm not a Hennessy girl. That was back in college day. I like red wines. And I was like, but if we're talking about like liquor, I'm a hypnotic woman. So I can drink some hypnotic. I love that. So he gets out, he goes back to his car and he comes out with this gigantic bottle of hypnotic. And he's like, yeah, I got this for you. So at first I'm looking at this and part of me in my head was like, Alana, just thank him for the gifts and put it in your car. Because first part of me was like, what the fuck does he think is going down on this damn date tonight? Like we are about to go in this restaurant. And I said to him, because you know me, Marnie, what goes in my head will come out of my mouth unfiltered at times. I know Quite Decent tries to catch me on that to like, you know, compose yourself and be careful with how you put it out, you know. And I get that because I'm all about being on the date and carrying myself with couth and being a lady. But he came out with this hypnotic bottle. And so I said to him, I was like, bruh, you know that there's alcohol in the restaurant, right? Like the restaurant serves alcohol. And he goes, no, I know. This is just a little gifty gift for you. So I was like, okay, thank you. I put it in my car. We go in the restaurant. We have food. We have drinks and everything. And it was actually a really nice experience. But I just remember thinking to myself, I was caught off guard at first because I was like, I hope this man don't think that we're about to chug that bottle and make out in that car. Like, what the hell? And that just threw me off because when I was younger in my 20s, men would bring drinks to the date because they were trying to get you drunk before the date. Brother, man, I'm about to be 40. You are not about to, you know, this was early in the year. You are not about to sit here and give me liquor and think we're going to make out and you're going to get some buns. That's not happening. Like, I was in shock. I was in shock. Like, oh. And then the interesting thing was this guy had such a great time. And then I never heard from him again. So it was a famous first and last date because I never heard from him again. And I thought to myself, like, what the hell happened? But then another part of me was like, well, you better thank God in that one, because any man that shows up with a bottle of liquor is probably not the type of guy you want to be going on a second or third date with. But, you know, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Quite Decent, because I know you don't represent all men. But I'm going to need you to clue me in on that one. What the hell was going on there? Why are these men showing up with liquor bottles to dates for women? Like, I don't think we should be doing that in our age bracket, you know?
With all of these weird things that we see both men and women do, I can only fathom that it works on some people. You know, at the same time,
you're right. These behaviors don't develop out of nowhere.
Yeah, like, you know, they wouldn't hit me. They wouldn't hit me with that Venmo as a first message if nobody ever paid them, like, or they wouldn't,
Sure.
So
That's true.
there's many different men and many different women. Clearly, the more established, the more, stable, demographic of us aren't susceptible to those type of things. But
Yes.
we don't wear signs, saying, this doesn't work on me. So they have to roll the dice
It's
and
crazy.
I
mean,
think I'm gonna get one of those COVID LED masks that says "not with the bullshit" or "this doesn't work on me," where you can program your message in. Because I think
yeah,
we need that now. You know.
yeah. I
Oh
think I
man.
think everybody needs to up their standards. Like everybody needs to up the
yeah.
standards a little bit, just so that that can be eradicated a bit.
Yeah, because I always hear people like, oh, don't have any expectations. No, I want expectations. That's the
Right.
problem.
Have some
People don't have
standards.
expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I go out with somebody, I expect to at least have conversation. At
Yes.
least discuss. I mean, you don't have to tell me all your intimate details because, quite frankly, I'm not the one. I don't want to know. I've had
Thank
my share
you.
of things where people have expressed too much. And I think that like it's not a good thing. Like in today's world, so many people take advantage of other people, and so keep stuff to yourself. Just
Mhm.
keep it light until it's no longer light, but it should be light for the first series of
Yeah.
dates if it gets past. I just know for myself, I haven't wanted to go on too many second dates at all. I went on a
I've
lot of first ones.
I've been turned off by a lot of first dates, and especially as of recent, because I feel like in dating experiences, men that I've encountered are too sexual. And that's not my interest. Like, I'm not interested in first date sex. And these men present themselves very well, a lot of them. They're career oriented, family oriented, quote unquote. But then we get on this date and we're not going anywhere. We're supposed to be meeting at the venue, but you're trying to hit on me in the parking lot. You're trying to have sexual conversation while we're at the venue, before we even get into the venue. And that
Yep.
just like kills it for me, because I think to myself, dude, you didn't meet me on Tinder. So where are we going with this? Like, you didn't meet me on Backpage, you didn't meet me on Craigslist. So where in your psyche did you think that it was cool to do this? And not for nothing, like how we discussed on a prior episode, I blame this on women at times too, because it's not just the men. These men are doing what's been accepted, what other women have allowed, and women too, they're doing what men accept, what other men have allowed. And it's so unfortunate that individuals like us, sane, logical individuals whom are actually out here looking for fulfilling love, to build that and have a lasting relationship, we're being impacted by these idiosyncrasies and dysfunctional dynamics that are being allowed to play out between the genders. And it leaves us in most uncomfortable positions. And one of the things that I highly detest is a man that thinks he can just treat a woman any way. Because, like, dude, I'm not associated with the caliber of slimy women that you're accustomed to dealing with. And I thought that was weeded out by my intricate profile, which so detailed me so greatly and presented my professionalism, and my personality, So
Yeah, I
I
think it's
don't
a
know.
common.
This has been traumatic for me. Some of these experiences. Go ahead, quite decent.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying I think it's a combination of people using dating apps or dating sites or whatever it is in a retroact or reactionary way. They notice that they feel lonely. They notice that I guess they haven't gotten laid in a while, and they notice how they feel, and then they decide to hop on these platforms or to engage with these apps or whatever. So that's the type of energy that they have coming into it. If they were to proactively say, you know what, everything's fine. Actually, I just got a bonus. I just got paid and everything's stable. And then start looking. It's like when you go shopping in a grocery store when you're hungry versus when you're not, When you're
Yes.
hungry, you start grabbing like everything. And then, when you're full, you say to yourself, $6 for those ginger snaps? I don't really need that. I'll just, So I think the type of energy that people come to these apps with are in reaction to them being like at an extreme level of whatever it is, loneliness, resentfulness, or whatever it is.
Yes.
If they were to just, say to themselves, hey, let me buy winter coats in the summertime and let me, do do things in a proactive way so that I can, be level-headed and actually get, something great, that would work better, so I think that's part of where that comes from.
And I totally agree. I think COVID
Yes.
has made people crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think being, like some people are incarcerated in their houses.
Yeah.
They've been
Yes.
locked up for too long, and they've lost their, I think they've lost their grasp on like what's acceptable, right? Because they haven't been practicing what's acceptable.
Well, the second part is that there's no, like I said, there's no consequence, right? So, I think you guys had an episode about like, dick pics and things like that. It's just like,
Yes.
people won't get in trouble for that, So it's just like, yeah, if I'm not me, but if people are bored, let's just say, and they're at this boiling point where they have to let this energy out somehow. It manifests itself in all of these different kind of ways, and if there's no consequence, the next time it boils up, they're going to come right back to the same platform and do the same thing. So, if everyone would just have standards and just have a little bit of strategy proactively,
Exactly. And have I think you need to have expectations.
Yeah.
Hearing like this like some of the guys, one of my friends at the gym, he's like, oh, you should just go into it with no expectations. I go into, no, I don't want that. I have an expectation. Smart people have expectations.
Yes.
People
I don't
know what they want. I mean, I'm not expecting to get married on the first date, but I do have an expectation of respect, of like, reciprocity. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff, I think, I don't know. I really think COVID has made people crazy. It really has.
I think COVID revealed how crazy some people are. I think people have always been, even before COVID. I mean, I got one more story for you here, and this is like way before COVID.
Share with us.
Let me think now. This might have been like maybe good like 7 years ago or so. It might have been Tinder or whatever. Matched with this girl. I think I spoke to her for one day, and then she was supposed to come over the next day. It had started to rain, so we weren't going to go out to like some place or whatever. I had a nice big apartment in Bed-Stuy. I've always lived alone. I think I have it on my YouTube channel actually. It was a big apartment, 7 windows. It was a 1-bedroom. I was living there by myself with my pets or whatever. She comes over. She's 4 hours late. First of all.
Oh my God.
She comes over, yeah, and I'm just like, okay, and I still had like, I was waiting to like eat dinner and stuff like that.
You
like,
were good. I wouldn't have answered the door.
we were gonna do a whole thing. I mean, she showed up, right? So it's just like, what do I do? Tell you like, get out of here, like.
That's why I said you are very nice and gentlemanly.
In the rain, So, anyways,
give her an umbrella.
Yeah.
She, I buzz her in.
Marnie said, "Give her an umbrella."
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I buzz her in. We get talking, and she's from a different culture, So I tend to keep an open mind and figure, oh, okay, maybe. I mean, my standards are my standards, so I tend not to care, but I tend to be a little bit patient, or whatever. She ends up spending the night and everything, and I say, okay, fine, we'll see how this goes. And she was the most responsive to me on these apps because, like I mentioned, a lot of the times, it's like pulling teeth just to get like a response out of somebody. Probably because they're talking to like a bunch of other people
50
as well.
million people aside from
Right.
you. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, and that's fine. They can do that if they want, but it's just like, I don't collect matches, like once it gets like below the screen and I have to start scrolling, I'm just going to purge the whole, thing until I'm back up. But anyways, since she was the most responsive and since she was willing to come from I was in Bed-Stuy, she was in the Bronx, right? So since she's going to take the train all the way down and this and that, I think she was unemployed at the time too, so she didn't really have like the burden of a full day or whatever on her. I said, okay, fine. I can't even get a call back from some of these people, and she's willing to travel from the Bronx. I got my own place, whatever. Let's hang out. Anyway, come to find out, her not her cousin, but she called her cousin, but it was her mom's. Sorry, it was her godmom's daughter. So they weren't like blood related. But they had grown up together, and this person was always jealous of this girl. So I guess this girl hacked her phone and learned about who I was, and then started to contact me, um,
Oh,
trying to get me
talk
to,
about a 2-for-1 deal, huh?
trying to get me to go out with her instead of the original girl. So, I then,
Wow, that's bold.
yeah, or
Weird.
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right?
You
Anyways,
know.
I explained, thanks, but I'm not interested or whatever. And then she like sent me some nudes. So then I show the girl,
You don't
and
know,
this
John.
other,
I mean, Quite Decent, because Quite Decent's going to put that on blast and let the friend know this is what your friend is up to.
yeah, or
That's one thing I love
you know
about Quite Decent. He's going to keep
you
it
got
real.
your godmom's daughter or whatever. The girl was married, by the way. The
Oh my
crazy
God.
one or whatever.
I would have three-wayed her husband, but go ahead.
Uh, so anyways, since I rejected her and explained to the main girl, hey, listen, talk to your people. Um, she then let loose this entire army of people to basically harass me via email and text message,
Oh,
like maybe 4 or 5 times a day for like an entire year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like
wow.
day in and day out, and and I'm just like, you guys seriously don't have lives, like seriously, all of this, because I didn't want to break up with the girl. I eventually, broke up with her because,
And they're giving a
honestly,
bad name to women in the South Bronx. I'm from the South Bronx. We don't do that, but go ahead.
yeah.
Have fun.
I don't even know where that other girl was from, actually, where she was living at the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's another. It was like a year-long first date, I guess, because everything just kept building off of each other. But
First dates.
Wow.
but yeah, maybe that's another question that you can add to your arsenal is, do you have any stalkers or any kind of crazy
Yeah.
family members who are
Over
susceptible to this kind of
sexualized
thing?
family members that are trying to be down with the crew.
Right.
Like,
That's pretty crazy.
that
Mhm.
is.
It's pretty sad, is what it is. And hopefully
Yeah.
they get the help that they need. But I mean, I actually was going. So the reason I had broken up with the main girl is because after a certain point, it was just like, what is this? We're grown adults, right? And these people are older than me, like all of them. So it's just like, you literally are like exhausted from like harassing me all the time and getting ignored. So you like pay other people to like harass me just to like, pick up the slack or whatever. And I'm just like, I then went to make a police report, right?
Mhm.
Oh my
So that
God.
I
I'm
can
glad
get,
you did that. That was a
so
good
that I
move.
can, but anyways, as the main girl saw that I was gathering resources and I had a pretty, good attorney, as she saw that I was making resources, she explained that she already did this and already got the police report and so on and so forth. So I said, oh, okay, well, I'll just use your information and we'll just go off of your stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't true though. She then proceeded to explain how she went to court and all of it was like lies. So, honesty is my main thing. So when I
Yeah.
discovered that like for months, these people weren't in jail because I was, letting you use your resources to handle the case, but then that didn't even exist. Um, then I was just like, all right, well, it's unfortunate that they didn't break us up. It's actually your dishonesty that broke us up, despite a year of like constant harassment and phone calls and so on and so forth, right? Um,
Wow.
That's
so
crazy.
That sounds like, in all honesty, immature girls women who like have their friends contact a man just to see if that man is going to fall for it. So they can say that that man is not about anything. And it's like,
mhm,
really, you're not about anything yourself, female, because you're the one that went through all this trouble to set this nonsense up. And then in the end, she lost out on a good guy.
right, right. At the end of the day, what are you trying to do? You're trying to, live your life happily, or you're just trying to fulfill this fantasy of like, I don't know, reinforcing stereotypes about men or whatever it is. Like, what's your objective? What's worth your energy?
Yeah. One of the things that I can say is from like knowing Quite Decent, he is a very peaceful, sound, and logical man. He's offered me a lot of good advice on dating over the years and stuff. And I really love and appreciate him for that, because he's kept me sane at times when I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with this? What the hell? Like, this guy really tried this. And Oh my God, I've hit up quite decent sometimes. Like, this happened with this guy, and what do you suggest I do? You know, because he always gives me good and sound advice. And at the same time, quite decent, I've hit up Marnie like, holy fuck, this happened. You don't believe this. So like, I hit Marnie up with the let me tell you what happened because you'll never believe this shit. And I hit quite decent up with like, is this serious? How do I proceed in this shit? Like, what would you do with this? You know? But this is so crazy. And, you know, I know a lot of our viewers out there can definitely relate to these stories because they have their own too. And what I want you guys to do is definitely throw into the comments your experiences and the things that you've experienced. Don't name names, don't out them, ladies and gentlemen, but definitely share with us some of the experiences that you've had because I know you can relate to this, you know. And before we wind this episode down, I want you guys to, you know, give some of the viewers some advice that you would, you know, that you would suggest that they follow if they're encountered with this worst date ever, how to get out of it or how to like try to detect it in advance and avoid it, you know?
I always, you know, one thing I would suggest to everybody is I always take pictures. So I take them from the site, the number, I always give it to like my daughter definitely and a friend. So, you know, so that they know where I'm at. I always make sure that I drive to wherever I'm meeting and it's a place near my house, but not too close.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to leave, you're in a familiar place. You know, that's the one thing I would say, because you know, we haven't spoken about like these are like the worst dates, but we don't know. I'm sure there are dates that have gone really, really wrong. And we didn't talk about those. And thank God I've never been part of those kind of situations. And I hope I never, and anyone else never experienced that here. But yeah, just to be safe and have an exit plan, the exit strategy. Definitely use FaceTime, make sure that that's that person. Try to Google as best, get a first and last name. I mean, I know women that, I mean, I don't know them personally, but I've heard of stories where they've slept with men, they don't even know their last name. Anything could have happened to them, you know? And I just think it's a good thing to try to get a last name, first name, and make sure that, you know, other people know as well, and that you're in a place that's you pick the spot, at least, you know, the first few dates until you get to know the person better. That's just my advice
I agree
for
with
these
you on
crazy
that one.
situations. So you can get out easy and quick.
I would also like to bring back the family and friend matchmakers, you know, just so you have somebody that you can corroborate information with, and you know, just people who are going to look out for you. You know, they you know, your family and friends aren't going to recommend like creeps or weirdos, you know. And there's also that peer pressure of if they do something strange, I will just tell your person who, you know. So let's bring that back, right? Like we got all these apps and everybody's out here in the Wild West, but it's just like if my brother or you know somebody were to recommend somebody to me, I would definitely you know give that a fair thought, you know, to entertain that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, I
that's a
do
new
agree.
business.
That is a great. See, I think that is
New
good.
old business.
You
But I
know.
agree.
So for our viewers out there, you know, you heard those tips. You definitely want to make sure you get a first and last name. Do not give out your actual phone number. Give out one of those Google Voice third-party phantom phone numbers, you know, until you get to know them. I definitely would video chat with them, get them to stand up and move around so you can make sure that all those body parts work. And if they don't, you at least know what you're dealing with. You know, again, no offense to the physically handicapped people. Don't spam me with these rude, negative assailments. Okay. I'm just speaking the truth, you know. Certainly if his wife or living girlfriend pops up to the date, get the hell out of there, you know. They bring a bottle of liquor, it's time to go. Don't even go on the date. Get in your car and go, you know. And also just take the time to really get to know a person thoroughly before you meet up with them. And if you meet up with them, as Marnie said, in an area that's close to your home, that you're familiar with. So this way, if you need to go, you can go. On a later episode for season 2, we definitely will be covering dating violence, and we will have a specialist on panel to discuss that and give tips on how to not fall victim to dating violence. But for this New Year's Eve episode, I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to thank you, Marnie, and Quite Decent for being on panel. And I want to say to our viewers out there, stay safe, share your stories, and we will see you next week for all things grown and mature.
For the record, for the record. For the record. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen. 8-6 all the hate. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and age. I'm flipping the bars and flipping the. On record, off record, I still count wins when they doubt it. On record, off record, I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost. Running through it with the young influence, adolescent presence. I'm succumbing to it. I've been giving yeses when I shouldn't do it. I complete ejected, but I'm elusive and I'm barely moving, but I'm still gon' boost them. I can't work on winners when I know you're losing, so I work the winners and they play with deuces. Guess I have to pivot, shooting the bazookas for the facts. I need racks, paper cash, fuck a tax. That's a joke. Tell them laugh. Uncle Sam, fuck out the bag. Brody plot, but get a whack. Contract, give me the max. I got lab on my back. You ain't that, then it's raps. Whoa, 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 whoa. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record, yeah. For the record.